Technology brings a lot of convenience, but it also brings a lot of hardship for many, especially over these years that we've seen a record number of hacking into various databases. We're not talking about just your local big box store or your local gas station, but we're talking like credit monitoring services, which you would think would be safe and secure. They're not. We're even talking about credit agencies like Equifax. They're not safe. We have the government. It could be the Social Security Administration. It could be government bases, military bases, if you will. NASA. They've all been hacked and multiple times, and information has been extracted that should not be available to those who have no authorization. And so what can you do about all this? Well, obviously you safeguard your information, but see how well that's doing for you. There's some people who are just bypassing your efforts and they're still getting everything they want. So yes, keep your social security number, keep all your bank account numbers and all that stuff, as secure as possible physically. But what about other things? Well, you could go really far with this and you could freeze your credit line and or close your credit accounts. But for a lot of people, it's not practical, especially for those who have a business. And so what can you do that is practical? So I have a few very, very simple steps here. First is to buy more locally. And, when you can, buy local and buy your items with cash. Use cash. So you're not using the system. And so right there, you're reducing or minimizing your digital footprint. So buy local and use cash when possible. You can also use a monitoring service that kind of monitors your credit line and to kind of sees if any kind of new credit line is opened. Also, any kind of suspicious activity on credit cards and so forth. And if that's something that you don't trust, because once again, even the credit monitoring services have been hacked, you can actually just monitor it yourself. You can order your own credit reports, your credit reports throughout the year. Some banks have systems set up or have services set up to help monitor your credit line. I know I have a credit card that actually does some credit card monitoring as well. So you want to just check into what services are available with those companies that you currently work with already. And lastly, and this kind of goes hand in hand with buying local and kind of like staying off the internet and just kind of, basically this is to reduce the number of locations that you use your cards. And so definitely minimize that digital footprint. And the more that you can stay off the internet in terms of, putting up your personal information, the better, because all it takes maybe is just one transaction to set off a whole chain reaction of problems for you. And I'll tell you what just happened recently. I was getting gas, and a few hours later, my credit card company called me and said, "Hey, we have to freeze your account and issue you a new credit card." And I was like, "Wow, what happened?" They said, "Well, in the last few hours, the gas station was hacked." And for those who don't know, I live in a more rural area. And for that to happen just seems so bizarre because it's just a little country gas station. But not only was the gas station hacked, but all of the transaction history was taken. Pretty wild stuff. And so, it was one of those things that I didn't use cash. And I was affected by that. And so when possible, use cash. I mean, it's there. Might as well use it. A lot of people will say, but I love the convenience of a card and I love how it itemizes everything at the end of the month and you can see all my transactions, right? You can see all the transactions and you can kind of organize your expenses and know what your budget is and all this, or know what you spent. You can just kind of organize yourself financially. And I'm on board with that to a degree, but anymore, if you're really trying to minimize your digital footprint and increase your privacy, you don't want to be using your cards. And I also understand the other argument of like, hey, you know, there's a lot of reward programs out there. Some of them are cash back rewards. Other cards will give you points toward like airfare or cruises, or there's a whole bunch of different programs out there. And so people say, well, hey, you know, those points help me, you know, have a vacation at the end of the year. And so it's really about how much is your privacy worth? How much is it that you're willing to do? So when possible, buy local, use cash, possibly look into some type of monitoring service, and just reduce the number of locations overall that you use your cards. And so, hey, I wish you all the very best. Good luck on your safety and security. But when possible, don't just let it be luck. Let it be something that you're actively doing to ensure your well-being. Guys, take care. Catch you later.